Hi, Kwe, Namalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian. Today I'll be going over my latest book haul. I feel like it's been a couple months since I've actually done a book haul, so I'm not actually too worried about it. I have been trying to cut back this year just because living is expensive. And honestly, like, I'm not getting to some of the books that I need to get to behind me here, so adding more to that pile has just kind of been intimidating and ridiculous. The last couple months, it's been slowly gathering, so I think I have a sufficient amount of books now to do a proper book haul. If you hear, I don't know if it's picking up because I am using a mic from my library again. If you hear water like drizzling or a type of waterfall type deal or like a creek running, it's my fish tank. I need to clean it. I could turn it off. I'm just too lazy to do so bear with me. Let's go ahead and get into the book haul. The first book was a pre-order. I actually saw that it was available on Book of the Month, but didn't like the US edition, so I pre-ordered it because the UK edition wasn't going to come out until later, and I preferred the UK version of the cover, and that is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer. This one we're following Clover, who is a death doula and is kind of forgetting how to live her own life until she meets a particularly ornery older woman who has one last wish, and so it's really going to test Clover and seeing how she remembers to live her own life. So I think it sounds really beautiful. I think this cover makes more sense for it. I don't like this US cover, but yeah, look at it. It's gorgeous. And I think that was my first book purchase from Blackwell's ever since Book Depository has left us. So we'll see. It did take a little bit. And because I didn't have like an account with Blackwell's, I didn't know where it was for the longest time, so that was iffy, but it did get to me. So the next group of books I got from PangoBooks. First is Hungry Hearts, edited by Elise Chapman and Caroline Tung Richmond. These are 13 tales of food and love, and basically these are interconnected short stories that explores the many meanings food can take beyond mere nourishment. It can symbolize love and despair, family and culture, belonging and home. And I've read books before that explore this, and I kind of want to explore it further. I do love food descriptions in books. I think it's really fun, particularly when someone's really excited about them. So far, I think the one that really comes to mind is Legends and Lattes, when they're describing some of the food the rat cook makes and how it makes people feel, and like the senses that comes with it is really fun. So this one has been on my TBR for a little bit, so I've finally got a physical copy. Next is the sequel to Dread Nation, and that is Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. And this one we are following Jane. I don't think she's a slave, but she is the daughter of one, maybe. Basically, it is around the time of the Civil War. The Civil War is interrupted due to the zombie uprising. Jane is sent to, or chooses to go to, a school for colored children to learn how to fight off zombies and protect white people, essentially. I remember reading Dread Nation years ago and didn't mind it. However, there is a problematic element to it, that it's basically the erasure of Indigenous people. There is one Indigenous character in this book, but they're mentioned for like a minute and then disappear throughout the rest of the book. But for a book duology that was inspired by residential schools here in the United States, yeah, I have some thoughts. So I am hoping to reread Dread Nation before getting into Deathless Divide, mostly because I remember bits and pieces, but ultimately I believe Jane is trying to find her mother, and that's where we're headed in this one, but I'm not entirely sure. So I would like to reread it. It's not something that I typically do, but before I go into this one, I think it would be a good idea. The last book that I got from Pango is The Waking Forest by Alyssa Weiss. This is one of the books that are on my 23 of 2023. If you don't know what that is, a lot of booktubers have took on this challenge. Basically, it's reading 23 books in the year 2023, the year that we're in. I don't know how others do it, really. I don't think I've watched any others do it. But for me personally, I ended up doing a random number generator. and found the books that coincided with that number in my Goodreads TBR, whether or not they had a physical copy, whether or not I had a physical copy, and basically it was the whole TBR. So it's from when I first started Goodreads in 2012 to current day, and this was one of them. This one it's having to do with like an enchanted forest. We're following Bree, who thinks the forest is a mirage because it comes and goes, but when a young boy comes and says that he'll teach her the secrets of the forest, she's hesitant to agree, and there also seems to be a witch in the forest. So that's all I really know. That's all I really want to know. I've been trying to get some of the books that I don't physically own on interlibrary loan, but this one was one of the ones that wasn't available through that. So, which is fine. It's I know that there's only so much. I think I'm gonna read this physically at some point. I'm a little behind, so hopefully I can get to it soon. And then it was nice because PangoBooks, I have my link down in the description down below if you ever want to check out my shop for PangoBooks. But otherwise, the person that sent me the Waking Forest sent me also stickers, which I thought was nice. I work to support my reading addiction. Accurate. Read more books. And I like big books and I cannot lie, which not all that accurate for me. So the next book was a pre-order that I was highly anticipating in terms of nonfiction reads, and that is 8 Bears, Mythic Past and Imperiled Future by Gloria Dickey. Gloria Dickey is a journalist. It's essentially exploring these eight types of bears in different locations. So bears have always held a central place in our collective memory, from indigenous folklore to Greek mythology to the 19th century fairy tales and modern toy shop. But as human and bears come into ever closer contact, our relationship nears a tipping point. Today, most of the 8 remaining bear species are threatened with extinction. Some, such as the panda bear and polar bear, are icons of the natural world, while others, such as the speckled bear and the sloth bear, are far less known. And basically, Gloria Dickey is embarking on a globe-trotting journey to explore the bear's story, whisking readers to various different continents, and interviewing multiple people who are spearheading conservation efforts. So I think this will be really fun. Bears are one of my top favorite animals. I couldn't say I have like one particular favorite, but like bears in and of themselves are like have a soft spot for me. So I thought this was exciting. I have one book from Book of the Month to show you, mostly because I have been skipping out on Book of the Month the last couple months. Nothing has been really popping out at me, or if it has, I already received it as an ALC through the Libro influencer program. I have my affiliate link down below in the description if you ever want to check that out. I love Libro. It costs the same amount as Audible, but it's not supporting Amazon. So this one in particular, I think I was particularly interested because we had just finished up Shark Week. So that is Shark Heart, A Love Story by Emily Habeck. One, we are following a newlywed who basically their first year of marriage will be their last, as the husband gets a rare and interesting diagnosis where his consciousness, his memories, everything will be intact aside from his physical being as he slowly transforms into a shark. So that's all I know. That's all I really want to know. I think it's going to be really bizarre and interesting. So I'm hoping I can get to this before fall and those spooky vibes completely take me over. Speaking of, the next 3 books that I have are very much encompassing this fall spooky vibe, but with like romance elements to it, I think, and like a bit of coziness. What I was feeling, these are my most recent purchases from Book of the Month, not Book of the Month, bookshop.org. I was obviously in a particular mood. I read these synopses recently and like I'm still feeling it, so I feel like these are going to be the books that I pick up automatically as soon as I'm done with whatever I'm reading currently. The first is Wolf Gone Wild, Stay a Spell, Book 1 by Juliet Cross. This one is following a werewolf who hasn't been able to transform in the last 3 months and feels like his werewolf form is like living in his head, giving him carnal and dangerous thoughts. He needs a powerful witch to help him break out of whatever this is. So he ends up meeting Evie, who has obeyed her own house rules of no werewolves allowed. They are temperamental and just overall dangerous. So when a werewolf ends up almost strangling one of her customers. She's ready to throw him out, but the desperation in his eyes of when he pleads his case that he needs her help, she's more than willing to give in, but something sinister is happening. So I think this is going to be really interesting, and I love this cover. Next we have The Night Raven. This is Crow Investigations book 1 by Sarah Painter. This one, I believe, is following a witch who has always known that she has no power next to her infamous and more than slightly dodgy family, so she's been a private investigator as far away from London as she possibly can. But when something happens in her family, she is essentially hired to find her cousin Maddie, and soon she's neck deep in problems. Her new flatmate is a homicidal ghost. The intriguing but forbidden DCI fleet is acting in a distinctly unprofessional manner, and tensions between old magical families are rising. So this one sounds like more of a mystery element to it, which I'm liking. Also enjoy the cover. And then this last one, I think Jan from Jan Agaton put on my radar, but I'm not entirely sure. I vaguely remember her mentioning it once, and I'm pretty sure that was the reason why it was on my Goodreads. But yeah, anyway, Blood Orange by Karina Hale. I love this cover as well, but this one we are following a vampire and a witch. This particular vampire is like an music instructor at school, and has basically lost a lot of his humanity after losing the love of his life multiple times over multiple lifetimes. So when he finds this one particular student he's teaching, he finds her intriguing but doesn't recognize her as his lost love right away, because she's had to hide her true self because she's a witch and she's bent on killing him, not loving him. So I'm very curious about where this will go. So those are the books that I have gained over the last couple of months. If you've read any of these, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. Please, no spoilers. If you think I should prioritize one over others, let me know. Obviously I have some in mind that I would like to get to pretty quickly. Otherwise, we shall see. Otherwise, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and put some kind of witchy emoji, whether it's like a broomstick, a witch hat. I'm not entirely sure what all there is in terms of witch emoji, so find your favorite one. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you have yet to do so, and I hope that you're in a mental mindset to enjoy your reading. I will see you in another video very soon. Ciao!